Hello. Welcome back to Mayhem on the Mic. I am your host, Kim.
And I'm Sophia.
So, how's everybody been?
We're good.
All right.
Back here for another one. Can't wait.
Exciting.
I know this is a little bit more of a broader topic today. So it's exciting. It's not so refined to a very specific.
Yeah, it's a more general conversation.
Yeah. And we've lived this one also.
And we still live that kind of in a way, ironically.
Yeah. So let's talk about becoming a parent, becoming a mom. As an adult, regardless of your age, becoming a mom. I think becoming a mom is crazy. It's like a whole whirlwind in itself. But I think it's really fun. Like when you think you know because you're older, you think you know like how it's gonna go, and then it just does its own thing.
Yeah,
you know.
And you kind of learn from your kids too.
You do. I mean, like each child individually, or like the pregnancies.
Everything.
Yeah.
I feel like everything, even like the transitioning from. So let's just say, right, you're a mom at a young age, right, and then you decide to have another one, right. That transition is completely different. You feel like you've never been pregnant a day in your life. All of a sudden, you go to the doctor and you forget everything.
You're like, why don't I know this? I've done this
and they
before.
ask you all these questions, and the doctor looks at you like you're crazy. Like, you don't know that? No, I don't. Actually, what was that test again? What does that do?
But they've come out with a lot of testing.
Yeah,
since my first pregnancy versus my last one, they were 11 years apart, and the testing is.
I mean, in us working in an OBGYN office, I learned a lot. And I'm like, what does that do? And what does that do? Yeah. And then learning what they were for was actually pretty cool. And when patients would be like, I'm not interested, interning, I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Why don't you want to, what do you mean? Like, you should want to know. Back then, I can understand, technology, a lot of things weren't up to par like how it is now, or so advanced, let's just say, right? But now, everything is so advanced. Like, as a parent, right, you're bringing this whole human in. Why don't you want to know everything about this little person growing inside you?
You know what it is? I think that there is. All right. So where we worked, there were a lot of women who were not from this country.
Right.
So obviously, out of the States, maternity care is different. Prenatal 100%. Care is different. Some countries there aren't as much testing. Right. You go to the doctor, you find out you're pregnant, you get a sonogram, maybe a couple of other visits, but it's not as in depth as it is here.
Right.
And so it can be scary.
Yeah.
And I think that it's really the medical providers have to do a better job of explaining the purpose of this testing. And obviously it's always
that's why they have medical
choice.
Assistants for.
Yeah. That was our job.
To translate and explain.
But I think I felt like when we were trying to explain those genetic testing,
they still don't understand.
They didn't understand, but they also felt like we were saying if there's something wrong, you're not going to have the pregnancy. And that's
right.
or you don't need to continue the pregnancy.
I think the verbiage.
That's not the point. That's not the point. The genetic testing is really to prepare not just you, but the medical staff that is delivering that baby.
100%.
If there is something there and they know when the baby's delivered, they can be prepared. The medical staff is prepared to be there
to handle that,
hands-on, help the baby, do what needs to be done right away. And I think that is critical to the health of children that are born with some genetic conditions. Really. So, obviously it's everyone's choice.
Right.
But I encourage you, get the testing.
Yes, please.
Your insurance pays for it.
You don't have to come out of pocket for that.
Yeah.
But I mean, and now handling being pregnant, let's say now in your 20s to your 30s, right? So we've both experienced that, both ends, right?
Yeah.
I have a 3-year-old, so I'm literally I'm still kind of fresh, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm still recovering. Even 3 years, he's going to be 4 actually.
Yeah, but I think he's in his stage. 3 is okay, now they talk.
So terrible twos don't exist?
No, it's
3s.
The
3s are, oh my God.
My son at 3 was a psycho. He was jumping off of things. He was doing pull-ups on
Listen,
random.
My 3-year-old is 3 going on 30 because he thinks he's a whole grown man.
He is.
I mean, I have full-blown conversations with him.
He's a grown man.
And people be like, who are you talking to? I'm like, oh, my 3-year-old. And they're like, what? And I'm like, I'm dead talking to him. Like, this is what we talk about.
Yeah.
Like, and it's so funny and it's so cute at the same time, right? But again, that just goes to show how far these children now that are being born, right, are so different.
I literally just told him, I was like, why are you asking me so many questions? Yes. Like, you are not my man. Yeah. Like, you are 3 years old, boy.
Why are you filming? Why are you doing this? And why are you here?
Yeah.
Why are you here?
Why are you here? I'm like, why are you here? Like, I'm supposed to be here. I love it.
But, you know,
so
these are, you know, ages and experiences that you go through with these kids. And listen, I learned from him even at 3. Like,
you know what it is? He is the youngest of 3. And so his older brothers are significantly older than him, you know? So like 19 and 11, 12 now.
Shout out to my 12-year-old. Actually,
happy
today's
birthday.
His birthday. Happy birthday, Jaden.
Yeah. So being this little person, you're seeing these big boys, you know, and you're learning from those big boys, like so much faster than I'm pretty sure your first one. He had nobody to follow and run after, you know. So
my first one's like the very like he's like the parent, low key. Like
I think that's like first child syndrome though.
It has to be, right? Because you know he's the first one who had to take care of
that. My older sister is very much thinks she's my parent, and my oldest daughter also is very motherly, even though she says she does not want to have children.
Well, it's definitely like a first child thing, because my oldest said the same thing too. I'm like, do you want kids? He goes, no. He doesn't want any kids.
All right, so the realest, most parenting thing just happened to us.
Literally.
So we're like sitting here having this conversation about this little 3-year-old who has a mind of his own and just does, you know,
whatever he wants.
So grown, and he just came and walked in on us.
Literally, so, he wants to be a part of the show.
He does, and he understands what's happening here right now. But he also needs his time, and so. I'm sure you guys could have heard that in the audio. Heard a little something back there, but
sorry, guys.
That is him, and that's real life, and
that's part of parenting and being a mom.
It's part of being a mom, and you know sometimes you got to take your kids to work. So, welcome to Take Your Kid to Work Day here at Mayhem on the Mic. So, as we were talking, you know, like basically. This is, you know, what we're talking about. You know, like they're just picking up. They're picking up, you know, with their older siblings are kind of like showing them, and they're a little bit more advanced. Like even my little guy is a little bit more advanced than my older ones were.
Maybe too advanced for their own good.
Yeah. But, you know, we learn how to deal with them. And I always say, like, my kids keep me so young. Like, they keep me on my toes. And just when I think I'm really cool I try to say something, they're like,
you're not that cool, Mom.
No, the best is like I try to say something really cool and they're like, you just gave me the ick. And I'm like...
And I know exactly who says that.
You know, and I'm like, you just said that. You just said that to me. Like...
I know, I'd be trying to tell my 12-year-old.
And now I give you the ick.
I'm like, can we do a TikTok? And he's like, no, I'm not doing a TikTok with you. Mind you, my stepdaughter is all the time like, Mom, let's do a TikTok. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm not doing a TikTok.
Yeah, my girls sometimes, they'll be like, let's do a TikTok. And then I'm like,
down for it. Why not?
I'm down until I see myself. And then I'm like, oh, heck no. I'm like, delete.
I thought I had rhythm.
I swear, in the club, it's like Instagram versus reality. Like, when I'm out, I swear I look good when I'm dancing. And then I try to do a TikTok, and I'm like, what is happening to me? Like,
you feel like you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, I don't know. It's rough. It's rough. You know, the body is not the same.
Right. And on that note, right, pregnancy at 30, your body is not the same.
Yeah.
You know, the ache pains, the back pains, the bone. Listen,
you just feel different.
Pregnancy, you handle it very differently because obviously, you know, you're getting older. Listen, it's not a bad thing. You just got to just deal with it. Take like a grain of salt.
You know, it's so funny. Like when I was pregnant at 25 with my second one, and I was so sick. And I have to say, like, I just wasn't like overall healthy. Like I wasn't exercising, I wasn't eating well. I was just kind of like, whatever, you know. And then I was pregnant at 32. But I had gotten into like a very healthy lifestyle, and I was working out a lot. I was training. I was like,
it's so crazy because even like we're so similar, right? We always say that, but even that is kind of sick because my second one was the same thing. I didn't have the greatest pregnancy. It was very like I went through everything you hear about, right? All the morning sickness, all this. Like I wasn't even eating. It was it was just bad.
Yeah, that was me too.
And, and even emotionally, I was going through a lot.
I was like, what
and then my third came and it was like whole different. And I was older.
You know what I think it is? It's also, so your first pregnancy, you're just taking care of yourself. Your second pregnancy, you're taking care of yourself and the first child, plus the partner at times.
And life.
Like, guys, I love you, but sometimes you're like really big babies about things, And it's just like, there are certain things that God forbid a guy gets a cold.
Oh my God. I always say guys would not be able to handle anything a woman goes through. It's too much.
Oh, like we're going to get canceled for this. No, I love you guys, but come on.
It's realistically.
Nobody's going to cook for me when I get sick. So you just, you'll be all right. But yes. So then your second pregnancy, now you have so many other things you have to take care of, and you start to kind of fall to the wayside.
Right, you're the back burner a little bit.
Yeah, and I always say, like, going from 1 kid to 2 kids was like, it was tough, but it wasn't that bad. That transition from 2 to 3, what? Like, now you're stacking the whole back seat in the car.
Yeah. Listen, I give it to those moms, too, that have them back to back.
Oh, yeah.
Like, God bless your soul.
What?
Because... Listen,
I didn't do that.
Everyone always criticizes me, like, you had your kids so many years apart. Like, why'd you wait so long? First and foremost, that wasn't intentional. That was not planned. I actually wanted my kids at some point. My breaking point was 5 years, right? Because my nephews are 5 years apart, and I saw them how they grew, and it was great.
Yeah.
And it worked out for my sister really good, right? Because one went to school, and then the other one was little, and then, like, it all helped each other, right? You don't have all these kids in diapers right at the same time. But 7 years apart worked in my favor, right? Everyone helped, hands on. It was wonderful.
Girl, I tell people all the time, they're like, your kids are so far apart, and I'm like, it took 5 years for me to forget the trauma.
Listen, when these people are like, oh, I'm popping my kid out, and he's only he's 2 years old, and then you see them back, and they're pregnant again, and then and I'm like, why? Why would you want to do that?
To each their own.
Right, to each their own. And like I said, God bless you.
Yeah.
Because... that patience that you need mentally, emotionally, and physically too, because you still haven't recovered from the previous pregnancy and delivery you just went through.
Yeah.
Now you're redoing this all over again. So listen, power to you women.
I struggle with a little bit of that patience, but with the other kids or whatever. I watch my cousins. I have there's 4 of us. We're very close together. And I swear, I look at the 3 of them and I'm like, damn. You have so much patience with that wild-ass child right now. I am so envious.
Listen, I'm pretty good with patience.
Yeah.
I can say that's actually, I don't think I was always like that. I think I've learned that throughout the years to be very patient. And listen, it's a gift.
I'm like, you're so sweet to those kids. And I'm like, if you guys can't play together, I'm taking the whole thing away. Everyone's going to sit Indian style and stare at each other. That's how I am. You either all do it together or it's nothing at all. Figure it out. I can't.
I do it to my 12-year-old and my stepdaughter when they argue and they fight.
Yeah.
Because they have a love-hate relationship.
They're very close in age too.
They're very close, right?
Yeah.
So he just turned 12. She'll be turning 10 in July. And when they fight, it's like, oh my God, I want to pull my hair out. And then 5 minutes later, they're all hugs and kisses and doing TikToks and all this. And I'm like, okay, very toxic, But, when they fight like that, I'm at my breaking point because I tend to tune them out, right? That's a mother's gift too. Here we go. So there we go. So I tend to tune them out and I sit there and ignore them until I can't take it anymore, right? And then what do? If you don't stop, I'm putting you both in the room together with no phones until you guys are nice to each other and talk to each other.
Yeah.
Literally 2 minutes later, we love each other again. Can we come out?
My God. I was talking to you and they were like.
And I'm like, I don't care if you love each other. No.
She was like, we're doing good together. Can we have our phones back? I was like, did she really just say that?
Yeah, she sure did.
Yeah. So, obviously we started the whole parenting thing early. Yeah. But I was curious to see, what is the average age of, first-time moms in the U.S.?
Right.
So I actually looked that up, and the average age of a first-time mother in the United States is 27 years old.
Imagine that.
27. I can see it. I see you're done with college, you kind of working your way into your career. You're probably a few years into a career, and then I could see 27. I could see it.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people, from what we were looking up and we found out, was the reasons behind that is because, a lot of women are concerned with their, finances and childcare, and they wait longer because they want to get married and be stable and find a partner, and education, career-wise, everything is kind of done and over with.
Yeah.
So that's why they wait for so long. But we're also looking at, the cons of waiting too long also is the older you get, it's harder for you to conceive, right? Your fertility, now we're using terminology here, right? Yeah. Your fertility actually begins to decrease. When you reach your 30s. Yeah. Listen, it is what it is. Yeah. Your body isn't the same. It's going to age. So, it's the older you get, you don't want to wait too long. But again, like we said, to each his own.
I mean, science has come such a long way.
Yeah.
And really making the ability to have children later in life very possible. And obviously everyone has to do what's right for them, and we all want what's best for our children and our families, and
so we may criticize women too who get pregnant, and try to conceive at 45. They were like, why are they, that's so old. But listen,
I don't criticize. Like I have to say, I was the first of a lot of my friends to have a child. Right. And so for a long time, none of my friends had children, and I was the only one. Well, maybe one other or two others, but for the majority, none of the girls had kids. And as I was having my my third, they were just starting to try. Right. And some of them had some fertility issues. Right, and some of them, it took a little bit longer for them. But they were able to conceive healthy, beautiful children. Close to 40. Yeah. And I know some women that have conceived and had children between that 40 and 46 as well. I think that's
become a big trend, and somewhat.
I think I'm I was probably my friend's birth control. Well, I feel they saw me have the baby early, and then they were like, I'm going to wait on
I also feel the saying now is, the new 30s are the new 20s and the 40s are the 30s. So I feel like that's why we're seeing a lot of that too. Yeah. Is because, people are now evolving and different stages in their life later in life, and there's nothing wrong with that.
I think women are honing more in on professional 100%. Lives as well, so women are where I feel like when I was younger, I saw a lot of homemakers.
Yeah, it was
a lot
more
of
the
stay-at-home
housewife.
moms, and I know a ton of stay-at-home moms.
Listen, that's great.
Don't get me wrong. But they had their time when they had careers, right? Extremely educated women, and now they have small children and they're stay-at-homes, and they're like, I would rather go to work, And it's not that you don't love your children or all of that, but it is
it's a lot.
Work. It is a lot of work to stay at home with your kids, and
you have a routine too. It's a 9 to, you wake up in the morning. It's not. It's like a 9 to 5 job. Yeah. It doesn't change at all.
Yeah, no, it's a 9 to 9 job. It's from the moment.
It's a double shift. No,
it's 7 a.m. because if you have one of those kids that wakes up really early, if you have multiples, one is awake, one is not. Sometimes you're constantly on, and that's draining. That's extremely draining. And if you are in that, there's so many different family dynamics. And when you're a mom, okay, maybe you're a single mom.
That's
where your kids are with you or in school. Yeah. They're either in school or they're with you. You're on.
There's no in between.
You're on. That's it. And then there are the homes where, you have both parents in the home. Right. And maybe both parents work. Yeah. And you come home and it's finding that balance now. Right. Okay, so what are mom's tasks and responsibilities? What are dad's tasks and responsibilities? So that we can balance this out. Because at the end of the day, if dad gets to come home and take a shower and watch TV and wait for food to be ready... Mom's not happy. No. And no matter how much she probably is trying to make it okay, I think that there are women who, I'm not going to say all moms are not, some women are just totally fulfilled with that, and more power to them.
And it is very true. Some women are
very fulfilled with that, and that's great. If that works for them, that's great. But some are okay, well, I'm going to cook, or I'm going to bathe. While I cook, can you bathe them?
I feel like I'm kind of a mom like that in a way.
I'm absolutely a 50-50 mom.
I naturally, that's just who I am, and that's who I've always been, and being on my own also, I'm already kind of accustomed to that, right? But sometimes I may forget that I have a partner because I'm so used to just doing it.
Well, because you were by yourself for a while,
right?
And that also happened to me.
I'm so used to just doing things and getting it done, that it's I have to remember, wait, but I have He's
I
there.
have someone who can help
like,
me.
You know what I mean? So, and then I'll catch myself and I'm like, babe, can you like get him in the shower? You know, and my 3-year-old, right, the 30-year-old man, he'll sit there. He's like, can I take a bath? I want to shower now. Can I eat? I'm hungry. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So then, but then you have the siblings too. So it's like now the delegation comes in. Can you feed your little brother while I cook here? Can you take out the garbage while I do this?
I've said this before, and I said this when we were on Chick Chats with Anna. I said this. There is no CEO, millionaire, big boss man running a company and doing every job by himself.
It's impossible.
No, he's not doing that. He is delegating the task to the appropriate person who does those tasks best.
Yeah.
And so like in my home, you know, if I'm going to be the one who's going to cook tonight, which maybe I'm not always going to be the one to cook, but you know what?
I don't want to cook every day.
Tonight I'm going to be the one to cook. I need to know that what is dad's task and what are the kids' tasks?
Right.
You know, like delegate that out. Like, all right, you're going to shower first, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, and I need this one's help with this. You know, like I need you to help me with this. And then the night just goes so much better.
The next thing you know, too, it's everyone by a decent time is already, everybody's already done. Everything is done. The kitchen's clean. You know, like you're not scrambling at 10 o'clock at night trying to do everything.
Right.
You can actually at some point have an hour to yourself.
Yeah. And an hour with your partner, you know,
and with your partner. Right.
The reality is when you become a parent, it's very hard to get alone time with your partner.
Very difficult.
You have to make time for that. It's so important. If you constantly ignore like nurturing your relationship, your relationship is going to fail.
It's going to slowly diminish.
I do not care what anybody says. And you know, like I tell my girls all the time, like, you better make time for that. You need to make time for that.
Yeah.
And if it's not coming from your side and you feel like, you know, your partner is neglecting, not making that time, you need to tell your partner, like, I need that time with you.
Communication is key.
Yes. Seriously.
Across
you need to
board.
do that. Because when you have these little ones, they are just...
They take up your time.
They are reaching for you at every chance.
They want you all the time. And listen... They're little. At the end of the day, like I said, we make fun that he's like a 30-year-old man, but he's 3.
Yeah, he's 3.
You know, he's a baby still. He's a toddler. Yeah. And people be like, he's not a baby. He is,
he's
though.
He's a baby. No, he's a baby.
Like, he is. Does he think he's grown yet? But he's still a baby. Like,
does he think he's grown?
Like,
yeah.
You know, but he's still, like,
he's a baby.
I have to sometimes even catch myself, like, Kim, chill out.
Especially when you have them far apart, or even when you have multiple kids, you can't treat them all the same. And it's hard to not treat them all the same. You know, like sometimes you're like, this is my expectation.
And then the stigma, like if they're all boys, like in my case, so you try to, they're boys. So you got to across the board, everyone gets treated the same. And I'm like, no.
I have to say, my partner, I'm not married, but I do have a partner. And he taught me. So when me and him first got together, I was one of those moms that did everything. You know, like I was cooking, I was cleaning. I was a single mom now for a long time. And I was running myself ragged. And there were days where I forced myself to go hang out with him because I needed to make time for him. But I was freaking exhausted. And then by the time I got to him, I was like,
I can't.
You know, like I was gone. And he's like, you can't even stay awake. Like, just go to sleep. And I'm like, no, I'm good. Like one eye open, like trying to, like, I'm good. And then he brought it to my attention. And this is a man that does not have children. Mm-hmm. This is a man who has never been in a relationship with children. And he was like, they should be helping you. Like, you should be delegating this. Like, they're old enough to help you sweep. They're old enough to clean their dishes. They're old enough to do their laundry.
Right.
And that was a very difficult transition for us as a unit. And because my kids were like, I got to do what?
Now, see, my kids always, like, even though we had my mom and stuff like that, they always, help with different things around the house, right? And at some point, they even did their own laundry. They had their own space, everything. Yeah. And, and things happen. We transition and stuff like that. And then, for whatever reason, they go through this little episode where it's like they don't want to do anything, right? And I've gone through that, right? And it's like, bro, stop acting like you weren't home trained and you weren't taught to have chores and like acting like you don't know how to pick up a sponge and wash a cup, right? But what am I going to do? Again, it goes back to the whole thing. Do I pick and choose my battles? Am I my patience? Am I going to sit here and I'll sit there and tell you, yes, 100%. And but then that instinct of us is just get it done.
Well, that's the thing.
Because we have things to do.
A lot of moms.
So it's like, I'm not going to keep arguing with you. I need to go.
I hear a lot of moms say it's faster if I just do it myself.
Which is not right, which is the wrong thing to do.
It's 100% true, but it's wrong because then they learn that level of manipulation and they're just like, I'm just going to take my time on this and she'll do it herself. Yeah. You know, and I have to say, like, I kind of had to put it into perspective for my kids. And I'm like, listen, if I'm out of the house and I'm working and you guys want things, you know, like you want those new sneakers, you want that new jacket, you want whatever it is.
I need your help.
You know, I have to spend a little bit more time out of the house. And when I get home, if, you know, the floors are cleaned and the dishes are done, I can get right into cooking dinner. Right. I'm like, I appreciate that from you. And in turn, I reward. You know, it's like a give and take. and, you know, they pick up on it. And so
when they want to.
It took some charts. You know, I have
a couple of those too.
I had 3 charts going in my kitchen in the first year of delegation. I had 3 charts, you know, and it was like there was a chores chart, there was a monthly calendar, and then there was a rewards chart for my littlest one because he needed a little bit more like motivation. So there was, you know, but my partner was a huge part of making that successful. And so I have to give him credit for that because I've been married. I'm divorced, you know, I've been married with a man who had a child and we couldn't figure that out. Right. You know, and it's not easy. It's not easy to find that balance and figure that out, you know, so just it takes time and work and a lot of energy that on some days we may not have, but you got to stick to it, and then you're able to find a great balance. And then I feel like the kids do better in the long run. Right. 100%. You know, they become a little bit more independent, a little bit more self-sufficient, and we want to see our kids like that. You know. Yeah,
I feel like at the end of the day, though, no matter what, we're gonna always just be mom, no matter how old our kids are.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's just who we are.
We're mom, listen, I know.
Being a mom isn't easy, right? Right. And it never will get easy. As we always say, as they get older, it gets easier. It gets harder and they get older. Yeah. Right? But, you know, it's as women, we have that natural nurturing in us. Even if we try to fight it and be this strong, like, I'm going to be stern. And
I don't know that all women have that.
Like I said, as women, right? We should have that.
I think it's innate for a majority of women, and I think that for some women, I'm like thinking about the best way to say this. For some women, if being a parent, being a mom is not for you,
that's okay.
Stand your ground, girl. Stand your ground.
Because if
it is not for you, then stand your ground.
And don't feel like, oh my God, I'm 35 and I don't have a kid. And listen, maybe you weren't meant to have one, and that's okay.
Yeah, if it doesn't feel right for you, it's not right for you. And
you know, I have my nephews my second nephew, they're, you know, in their mid-20s. He has a house with his girlfriend and everything, and he flat out told me, he's like, I don't want kids. I don't want it. I want to live my life. And at first, right, because, you know, I just love my nephews, and I'm like, why? Like, why don't you want to have kids? And as he explained to me, and he's like, I just want to do this. I want to travel. He had so many goals and aspects. He was like, and I feel like that's just going to stop me. Yeah. Listen, I have to respect that, right? And I said, listen, being a parent is not for everybody. Yeah. And that's fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
It may hurt me a little bit, but that's okay. Like, but parenting isn't for everyone.
Why does it hurt you that he doesn't want?
You know, just because, you know, in general, the Spanish culture, right?
This is the problem with our culture.
This is what I'm going to say. The Spanish culture, right? You want a big family, right? You don't want to be like the only child or whatever. So they say, right? So you're so used to that dynamic. And my family's not that big. So when I have friends, like one of my close friends, her family's huge. Yeah. And she's like one of like 6 brothers or whatever. And they don't need outside people for a party. Because it's literally
my family is like
However,
that.
It's so cool and so dope to see because they all get along. They're always there for each other. The cousins of the cousins of the cousins of the cousins of the cousins, and everybody keeps having kids, and they all grow up in the same age.
I have like second and third cousins that I'm very close with.
So it's like me seeing that. Like, I admire that. And I'm not saying I'm going to have 10 kids. No.
No, but also, like, we also,
far.
in my family, have women who have not had children, and that's just not for them.
It's
and
okay.
I think that it's really annoying when we get together and they're like, so, when are you going to have a kid? Like, if she wanted a kid, don't you think she would have done that already? Like, homegirl's 40-something years old. Like, she's chilling. Let her live her life. She going to go on vacation, okay? That's what she's going to do. But, yeah, I think that, you know, the takeaway really is find the balance that works for you. Mm-hmm. You know, juggling children is difficult, but it's possible.
Yeah.
It's possible, and you have to stand your ground.
That's it.
On whatever is right for you.
Listen, and as cliche as it sounds, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm saying cliche because it's a very cliche statement or quote or whatever you want to call it. You know, there's no one like a mom.
Yeah.
And sometimes it'll be like, yes, there is. Like, there's dad, there's the uncle, there's whatever. But mom is mom, right? Whether it's good, bad, great relationship, bad experiences, whatever it is, right? You can't replace her.
Right.
And I know people say, yes, you can, because dads, you know, you can replace it. You know, dads are replaceable either. They kind of are.
Yeah, don't say that. No, I don't think that they're replaceable.
Not that they're replaceable, but
I do think that there's a special relationship between, you know, a mom
and a child.
Kids,
It's a different relationship. It's a different 100%.
And we're just speaking from our perspective.
Right. So no offense taken. You know, and I'm not trying to offend anyone, but you know, again, it's even as an adult now. My mom, we don't have the best relationship, but I do appreciate her, and I love her to death, and even though she's who she is, I wouldn't change her.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would not change her.
I'll keep mine too.
I'll keep her. But
so on that note, we're going to wrap it up for today.
Yeah.
Takeaway, be good to your mom. And hopefully my kids watch me say that. Be good to me. And we will see you
on our next episode.
Next episode, Mayhem on the Mic. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Mayhem on the Mic. If you want to email us and talk to us, send us some suggestions, mayhemonthemicpodcast@gmail.com. And you can also watch us on YouTube.
You can search us up on Mayhem on the Mic or just Mayhem or Mayhem on the Mic /Latino Mix.
Yeah, we just found out. Mayhem on the Mic. Search that. We come up with the first one. So
all right.
We can't wait to see you guys then.
All right. See you guys soon.
Bye.